Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
On today's show, we're going to talk about hellebores. Hellebores are also known as Lenten rose. And yes, we did talk about them a few weeks ago, but it's really important now because they're on the garden center shelves right this minute. Oh, yeah. So we're going to talk all about hellebores and how they grow, what varieties to pick in our first segment.
If you have ornamental grasses in your landscape, it's time to cut them back. We'll tell you how in our second segment.
It's junk mail time, and your mailbox is going to be filled with offers that are saying you can have the perfect lawn for only 4 steps. Hogwash. In our third segment, we're going to discuss how to take care of your lawn and why it's best to avoid the whole 4-step program.
We receive more questions about hydrangeas than any other topic. Why they don't bloom, when to prune, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
We're going to explain what to do or not during our fourth segment.
Last but not least, we're bringing it back. What's bugging you? This week, those tiny little ants are bugging me. I'll tell you what, they were filled inside. All right, it was a shot glass, but it was filled with something really sweet, had to measure it out, and all of a sudden, got up in the morning, filled, overflowing.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to tell you how to get rid of those creepy crawlers in our final segment.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome's Triple Action contains 70% neem oil and 0.25% pyrethrins as a concentrate and ready to spray. It is an insecticide, fungicide, and miticide labeled to use on vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs, spices, and ornamentals. This organic OMRI-listed product controls a wide variety of insect pests and diseases, including aphids, scale, spider mites, whiteflies, rust, leaf spot, and powdery mildew. This insecticide is an all-in-one bottle that will cure just about any problem you may run into throughout the year. Fertilome's Triple Action has been helping gardeners across the country for years. Best to apply in late evening and early morning hours. Mix 1 ounce, which is equivalent to 2 tablespoons in a gallon of water. The best part is, Triple Action may be used up to the day of harvest. So, the next time you are visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilome's Triple Action and expect to have the best-looking plants in the neighborhood.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I've mentioned on the show before how I've had, well, actually, I have hellebores.
You do?
But they're not as good as yours. You mentioned the buds that were on them.
Yes.
That Carl has some in the house in Glassboro.
Oh, he does?
Why am I telling you? Want the address? Anyway, and that he's got buds on them. But yours are flowering, right?
Oh, mine are flowering right now, yes. They're incredible. It's already... They've been budding since January.
It's incredible. And that they they're that colored circle that it's like almost like a balloon, like a little miniature balloon, like a lollipop almost.
Yeah,
and it shows color.
It does on the edges.
Yeah, so
beautiful.
We're talking about hellebores, also known as Lenten rose, and just we're in Lent right now, I believe. Yeah. Giving up anything for Lent?
No.
No?
No. I'm trying to gain weight.
Kind of gain weight. So, cheesesteaks.
Oh, yes.
Cheesesteaks
right over.
Twice a day. Anyway, so it's basically because of the time where they bloom. And I know Christmas. Boy, I'm having a hard time today.
On Christmas.
I'm having a hard time today.
Oh, I know.
That where, again, Easter floats all over the map as opposed to, as far as the calendar goes, all over the calendar. But it's always usually early. I think the latest Easter can go is in April. And that where it still is in bloom that time because the Lenten rose is usually it's known because of the observance of Lent and that it blooms during that time. And it blooms for so long, it can cover that whole span. So if you have an early Easter, it's in bloom. If you have a late Easter, it's in bloom. So again, it certainly works out really well.
Yes.
Julio, when we were talking I guess last time about them, you have them in part sun.
I do.
Right? So
yeah, I do.
But they can go in full shade.
Oh yes, they can. That's the beauty of it.
And that their foliage is evergreen.
Yes. Beautiful.
And you've had no issues, even though when we have, we had a pretty mild winter this winter so far. I don't expect it to change a whole heck of a lot. We had 60 degrees this past week.
Oh.
If I have not seen them where they've defoliated or disappeared, except in summertime, if they're in a really hot area. Do yours disappear in summer?
No, they don't.
They don't.
No.
So they're holding their foliage.
They're holding it up. Yeah, beautifully. Yeah.
All right.
I don't get that afternoon sun.
No?
No.
So if you have them in full sun, and that's when you're going to have issue. And the big thing that's happened with, again, hellebores, if you're watching on YouTube, that's our fancy automated turning table that's known as Aaron's finger to show you the flowers. Nothing but the best.
Yes.
Anyway,
Always.
that the change has been is that the flowers used to hang down. So if you're looking on YouTube, and please go to YouTube, do a search for Bloomers in the Garden. You'll find us. Please subscribe. And also, anybody who's listening on the podcast, please give us a 5-star rating. We would appreciate that very much. So I am showing the flower that it used to be in on YouTube. And what that was is it would hang down, and it would really, you'd have to lay on the ground to see what the color was. You'd get a little glimpse of the edges, but now, again, it's science, right, Julio?
It is.
We were talking with Jasmine last week. It's science, it's science, it's science. So what happens is the breeding that's taking place, that now the flowers are upright. You can look into it. You can see the colors. And the selection of colors have really become wide-ranging foliage type. And Julio has always mentioned it. You like the foliage, right?
I love the foliage.
Can you describe what it looks like?
Yeah, so I have the same one we have here in the studio. It's Frost Kiss, and it's like marbleized, and you can see the marbling in the actual
Could you describe
leaf.
it for those that are on radio?
Yeah, it's kind of like a vein, like whitish veins running through the dark green plant, color.
All right, so it's not a solid green.
No, it's not solid.
It has some contrasts that are within the leaf, and again, it forms a ground cover.
It does.
When it's done flowering, and that if you keep it in a little bit of shade or a lot of shade, you'll have that as a ground. So think about a replacement that it seems like English ivy has been on the hit list, right? No more.
No more.
It's an invasive species. Let's see. It grows great ground cover, covers an area, doesn't need much care.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
That's right. And so this will respect its borders, but you'll also get the flower and you'll have the foliage, and it's evergreen. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a little more costly, just saying. But again, it is a great plant that gives you flowers early. I would say one of the earliest flowering. Before forsythias, like those of you that know forsythias think that it's their first flowering. Hellebores, Lenten rose, they are the variety that flower earlier.
As far as perennial, yeah. I mean, I can't think of any. Do you?
Think of a shrub. What shrub is flowering now?
Yeah, I know.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I think this beats everything.
I think so.
And it can go in. If you're going to put it in full sun, you do risk it going dormant during the winter, but generally doesn't happen. I would keep it in part shade to full shade. So, how about as far as what special care do you give yours? Anything?
No,
Feed it?
I haven't fed it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I should. Maybe I'll get
Well, I mean, you're talking about ever.
Ever, yeah.
You've
Ever.
never fed it.
I've never fed it.
And how long have you had it in the ground?
Oh my gosh, at least 5 years. I'm thinking, if I did, I'd probably get more flowers.
You would. It'd probably be a fuller plant.
Yeah, fuller
and
plant.
a spoma plant tone.
Plant tone, yeah.
A spoma plant tone
Mm-hmm.
would
I have
work.
it at home. I have
Get out there and throw some around.
Yeah,
A spoma plant tone is like the best general fertilizer that's out there. I mean, it is slow release, all organic. Doesn't hurt pets, people, or the planet.
Yeah.
I've heard that on commercial. Any case, Frost Kiss that Julio mentioned, that's that upright flowering variety, and there are more now. Frost Kiss was the original that really brought it to market, that with an upright flower. And this is only 2 years ago, maybe 3, but you want the flowers that are looking upright so that when you look down, you're going to see the flowers and that you'll be able to see colors. The older varieties, they're pendulous, and it's just like it's not as attractive. You can see there's flowers, but you can't really see the colors, and it's just muted. It's just muted. There's also some, like, I think the whites that they have are beautiful. Don't just think about like they have mauves, and they have like, this is a white that's edged in like a burgundy, but there are some varieties that are in a series that are just don't think just, again, the absence of color is white, okay, and that where there's a honeymoon series that particularly is beautiful. So look for Frost Kiss, look for honeymoon, and that these are varieties that are developed by plant breeders and put out and marketed because they are so good, and that this is one that actually works. Like competitors to like Proven Winners, for instance, that they're putting these varieties out there. Do you trim them back, Julio, at all?
I just take away the dead leaves. And
Okay.
you get some brown leaves, and then you just trim them up.
Okay,
Clean it up a
so you're
little
just kind of like deadheading the leaves, cleaning
That's
up
right.
the leaves,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's a lot of times that the leaves are underneath the plant, so you don't even see them. No. So it's not a lot of maintenance. Don't
not.
think it's like you've got to clean it every day.
They don't.
So again, these are hellebores, also known as Lenten rose. You're supposed to feed it in the fall to help initiate flowers, Julio.
That's right.
And that, again, it will start flowering. And okay, why does it flower so early? It's the amount of daylight. So a week from Sunday, it is going to be an hour later. So this morning, it was sunrise at 6:30. So 6:30 sunrise. Next week, 7:30. Well, I guess it's so after that. So after the 10th, it's going to be 7:30. I hate getting up in the dark.
Yes.
I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I'm like, can't I leave it alone? It's just right.
Right.
But so that means also that when I guess you have at nighttime where 7 o'clock is really going to be 8 o'clock. So you're going to have light longer.
Yeah, it's nice. We like that part.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's like I always hate it because the busiest season for us is spring. and that we're working and everything, and then like it just feels like that day will never end. You know? So anyway, I couldn't get another hour's sleep.
Oh, no.
The fall is great, but it's not as busy. Like you need it more in the spring.
Yeah, really.
So again, hellebores that called into flower, like everything else, it's by sunlight, and that again they were flowering they were heavily budded in January.
Amazing. Yes,
Amazing plants. Expect to be price range in close to $20 or between 20 and 30, depending on the variety, and that it's well worth it. Well worth it. Okay. Anything else to add, Julio?
No, I think we covered it pretty much. It's a tough plant, let me tell you.
That is.
It's a tough plant.
It is a very tough plant.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Are you looking forward to a spring of vibrancy while using the best organically approved growing media for your annuals and vegetables? Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter has been created to set a diverse culture ideal for germinating seeds and root cuttings. Created using the best ancient composting techniques and new age mixing devices, Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter gently combines kelp meal, worm casings, mycorrhiza, perlite, and sustainably harvested peat moss, establishing the most desirable setting to enhance new plant growth. Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter is available at these local retailers, or visit www.coastofmaine.com to locate one near you.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, PA. Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, PA. Sickles, Little Silver, New Jersey. Wanting to up your game in the vegetable garden? With 90 years of organic gardening experience, the Espoma Company has you covered. Espoma Organic Garden Tone is not your average garden variety fertilizer. Garden Tone is especially blended for organic vegetable gardens. Its all-natural formula contains Biotone, a blend of organic ingredients that supplies essential nutrients for strong, healthy plants and mouth-watering vegetables. Its slow-release formula provides continuous feeding. The Biotone contained in Garden Tone is a combination of organic ingredients and beneficial microbes to help roots grow deeper and faster for bigger, more bountiful harvests. Garden Tone is simple to use and safe for people, pets, and the planet. No harmful chemicals or synthetic fertilizers are ever added. You can find Garden Tone at fine garden centers. Visit espoma.com to find a retailer near you. Garden Tone from Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, folks, it's that time, all right? It's that time to get your shears out and cut back your ornamental grasses. Yes, sir. That's it. Right now is the time.
Don't fear the shears.
That's right.
So you want to leave your grasses go natural in the winter. It's good for spots for birds to be hiding in. It's really good for a lot of the wildlife out there. But now it's time to cut them back. So how far? You don't want to cut back what's called the crown. The crown of the plant is where it comes out of the ground, and that it's the first new growth will start. So you're not going to cut your grasses down to the ground. You're going to leave about 6 inches of old grass. Think of it as, this is going to be simplistic, but think of it when you mow your lawn. You don't mow it down to the ground. You grow it. You cut it about 4 inches. So you're going to add a couple inches to that, and you cut it square. But here is the question. There's 2 questions here. The loaded question. This is a quiz to Julio. Julio Zamora,
Bing, bing.
a staple in Bloomer's nursery for decades, is liriope. Also, some people call it liriope, but they also call clematis. Anyway,
Right.
some places it's called monkey grass. Down south, it's called monkey grass. I'd rather have liriope
Yes.
or liriope. Okay, is liriope a grass?
No, it's not.
Darn it, you got it. Bing! You get a ride home from the studio.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So
I get home today.
liriope can be cut back, but keep in mind that it is an actual flowering plant where it sends up a flower, and that cutting it back just cleans it up, and that'll sprout the leaves from the center. All right, Julio.
Question number 2.
Question number 2. I've got ornamental grass.
Okay.
I cut it back,
Yes.
and it's got the donut effect.
The donut.
Where it's all nice on the outside, but it's kind of just dead in the inside. Is that time to cut them back?
Yes.
Cut as far as split?
Yeah, they've grown pretty big.
That donut effect is free plants. Okay. Because what you're going to do is you're going to dig up the clump of grass. And again, it could be anything from, it comes maiden grass to you name it. Any type of ornamental grass. And again, we're talking about not annual grass, obviously, because they're going to be dead. So if you had some of the varieties of Pennisetum rubrum, for instance, and you're wondering why it's not coming
still
back.
Brown, right?
Well, it's not supposed to. But the hardy grasses are going to start to grow. And what you're going to do, this is the perfect time. Spring is the time to split your grasses. So if you've got that donut effect happening, the clump is getting so big that the centers are dying out, time to dig up that whole clump. And that I have seen different ways to cut a clump. Your hoary knife?
Yes.
Yeah, you need to start bringing that to work now.
I'm going to bring it.
Yeah, it's time to have your hoary knife. Yeah. That is ideal for cutting grasses. A good sharp spade. Yeah. Hassan, chop! And then you cut it. And you cut it into quarters, depending on how big that clump is. But you want to dig it out first. Don't cut it while it's still in the ground. That's kind of, just don't do that. You're going to dig it out on the edge of where the roots are, where the root mass or the plant's top are, and you're going to pop it out of the ground. And you're just going to take a regular shovel, a round point shovel. You can use a spade, and you're just going to dig around it, and just keep lifting as you're digging around it. And eventually, when you get to the other side, it should pop right up. And then you're going to take your spade, or you're going to take your hoary knife, or whatever you want to. I saw a guy using a carpenter's saw.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're kidding me.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah, it was fine gardening. I was like,
you're kidding.
What? For real? And the thing is that it was not working real well. No. So and Aaron, you'll appreciate this. They cut the clip. Because he's sawing away. It's like dead air. It was done. It was like if you've got a hoary knife, then you've got that serrated edge and it's sharp, and you can go through that. It's a little short, but again, the Hassan chop thing with a spade. I mean, that's the. I watched a lot of Bugs Bunny when I was a kid. Okay. Let me explain stuff to you guys. Anyway, that's what to do. Quarters are best, and that you're going to plant one right back where that one was growing, or if you want to move it, now's the time. And then you can plant the other grasses that you had, the other clumps, and you can plant them somewhere else. You're going to plant them like you would plant a new plant. So you want a little bit of a soil amendment with it. You're going to put it in that hole not too deep. We talked about the crown area earlier when you cut them back. Not too deep, because if it goes too deep and you bury the crown, you could kill the grass. So you want it raised just slightly. And then make sure that you pack it in really tight all around. It's time you could give it fertilizer, even though that it is the beginning of March. again, Plant Tone by Espoma, perfect choice because it's a slow release, all organic. You're not going to burn it, and no liquid fertilizers this time of the year, but you're going to do a granular Plant Tone from Espoma, and then you're just going to circle the new planting, and then you'll be amazed. It'll start growing, and it'll look like that daddy plant in just 4 or 5 years, and then you'll get more. And then you'll put them in 1 gallon pots, and you'll bring them to me and see if I want to buy them. Yeah. And I will say no because they are not certified nursery stock. But bring them to your friends, right?
Yeah.
And what's our rule with bringing plants to your friend?
You make sure that you put them in the ground for them.
You plant them. Yep. Don't here's some work to do. You just say, hey, I've got some grasses. Where would you like them planted? Mm-hmm. And then every time they look at them, they're going to see you. Oh, yeah. As opposed to if you don't plant them, every time they look at them, they're going to think of you. Yeah. Thanks for giving me the job to do. So, again, plant them for your friends. Anything to add with grasses, Julio?
No. Do you like grasses?
Yes, I do.
You do? Yeah.
Grasses give a texture. So the best landscape, the best plantings, whether it's an annual planting or whether it's a landscape, it's color, texture, and form. Texture from grasses is something that you can't get from a dwarf conifer, or something you can't get from a broadleaf evergreen. And so, again, it adds that different, and also color where the variegation in some of the grasses and the ones that have cattails. I particularly love some of the dwarf grasses, like Hamlin is a variety that it's basically a foxtail that shimmies in the wind.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
It just gives another dynamic,
another movement, right,
to the landscape.
Awesome.
All right. If you've got questions about cutting back your grasses, please call the hotline 609-685-1880. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water-holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA.
From teaching moments in the garden to heartwarming memories, flowers have the remarkable ability to bring us together. The award-winning Philadelphia Flower Show invites you to a vibrant celebration of our growing community at the Pennsylvania Convention Center, March 2nd to 10th. Take part in the transformative power of gardening. Experience floral exhibits from top designers, the world's largest plant competition, crafts, shopping, activities, and more.
If you're like me, then you absolutely love birds. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center has you covered. They're dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds of all sorts. Want to bring more birds to your yard? Then you got to see this place. Bloomer's has a huge flock of feeders, birdhouses, birdseed, and much, much more. Want to feed the birds and not the squirrels? They have this absolutely cool bronze bird feeder that will drive those sneaky squirrels nuts. They'll be moving to the next door neighbor in no time. OMG. Bloomers have these absolutely adorable birdhouses that will turn your yard into the perfect bird B&B. They carry all types of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. Bloomer stocks Lyric, Kohl's, CNS, Pine Tree Farms, and much, much more that will keep those beautiful birds coming back for more. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County. For more information and directions, check them out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center, you got to see this place.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len. He's Julio. Aaron is here somewhere. TJ's working the glass. Sam's got off, I guess. All right. There we go.
There he comes.
We're photobombed by, if you're on YouTube, you get to see the whole team. So it's coming. It's coming. Buy a 4-step. Buy a 4-step. Buy a 4-step. It's cheap. You need it. You have to have it. I'm here for therapy. You do not have to have a 4-step program, and it no way will justify giving you a green lawn. Potentially, if you do it right, there are all elements of that 4-step that you could use. But years ago, when 4-steps were, do you want to know the history, Julio? Here's the history of 4-steps.
Yeah, I think we need that.
Okay. Scott's. We all know Scott's.
Yes, we do.
Scott's 4-step, the true 4-step, is only available at independent retailers, and that it's actually the one that has the number on the bag. It used to, when it first came out, it was a great idea, and it was a way. Here's honest truth. I'm holding my hand up. Is it that where you put your fingers together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cub Scout kind of thing.
It was a way in order to get early cash flow for garden centers, and that it also took people out of the market for lawn products for pretty much most of the year. And it was great as long as you were selling it. But over the years, and we're talking about 40 years probably, that all of a sudden, guess what? There's no more insect control. And that it got dumbed down so that it could keep its price. But you're buying mostly fertilizer. The only real control products that are in it are crabgrass preventer that you put down. And we recommend how many applications of crabgrass preventers?
2. We recommend 2, yes.
It's about 6 weeks apart. And the reason is because crabgrass seeds will still begin to germinate in June. And if you don't, that crabgrass that you control that you put down when the forsythias are blooming, it's done. It's not working anymore. And so you put down a second crabgrass control, and that will prevent your crabgrass from infesting your lawn. Second thing, it has a control product, which is a weed and feed. Everybody's heard of weed and feed. Mm-hmm. We at Bloomers in the Garden do not believe the best application to control broadleaf weeds is a granular application, because the whole thing is you have to get those particles to sit on the surface of the leaf and not blow off and not fall off. A liquid works much, much better. So a granular is kind of, it's better than nothing. But again, it has to sit on top of that leaf in order for it to be absorbed by the plant. And if it rains, it ain't going to work.
It's gone.
Okay. And that springtime, we all know that we can't control the rain. When you use a liquid, if it dries on the plant,
then
score.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that it works. So please go to your local garden center and deal with each step one at a time, because too often we hear, "Oh, I got that in my garage," because you didn't use it, and then it ends up getting ripped, and then you get mad, and really you don't buy it and use it. And it doesn't address things like pH. It doesn't address things like, for instance, if you have a disease issue. It doesn't address things that you might have. Again, you think that, the 4-step's going to handle everything, and it's not. It's not. I'm not making some of my vendors very happy, but honestly, that's what makes us independent.
That's right.
Captain Garden Center. So anyway, again, it's a way. Again, it was a way to get that customer all at once. Still is. It still is. But I don't know. Keeping it in your garage for, really from March through September, and hoping that you don't poke a hole in a bag and it doesn't end up ripped, and that actually you're putting it down right. Where if you do one at a time and you explain what issues you're having within your lawn, your local independent garden center can pinpoint the problem. And you may think that you've got a broadleafed weed problem, but you actually have something completely different, where like you've got a sedge issue, and that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So, all right. I'll step down from my soapbox and we'll go to break, and we'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, Len, any day now, the calls are going to come in. They're going to start. You know that, right?
It's coming.
How do I take care of my hydrangeas? We could do a segment every week on this.
I think we do.
I think we do. We might have to.
All right, well.
In this segment, though, we're going to talk about how to give you a hydrangea primer. So we're going to start you off on the right foot.
All right. It's all about old wood and new wood. What the heck do you mean by that? All right. Do they flower on their old wood, which means the growth from last year, or do they flower on new wood? Now, when the world was simple and the macrophylla hydrangeas, which are the big blue ones, the big pink ones, that when they would flower, they only flowered on their old wood. But now there's the varieties now that it's all summer. It's like, oh, it's an ever blooming. Everybody knows the endless summer variety and all of those others. Now, those, don't touch them. Don't touch them, because your first bloom on those, just like in the olden days, that when they flower, their first bloom cycle is going to be the most stupendous. It's going to look the best, and then they will continue throughout the summer and that they'll go into the fall where they'll pop flowers up here and there, but they're not the same wow factor that you get in the spring. So if you go and you prune everything, landscapers drive me nuts.
Yeah, they're the ones.
Where they come in the fall and they prune everything, and all of a sudden you're wondering, how come my azaleas don't bloom? How come my hydrangeas don't bloom as nice as they used to? Mm-hmm. And it's generally because they're getting pruned at the wrong time.
Right.
So we're talking about the big snowball bush hydrangeas that have the blue flowers, and they're sold at Easter time. They're sold all through the nursery. That those varieties, generally pink, they're pink, and really they're blue
Lavender
is the most popular. Lavender, when they're in between, you can control their flower color by pH, but that's another show. And that where, again, those you don't want to touch. But it's those other varieties, panicle hydrangeas, that those are the ones that flower in the summer, and that also will flower in, say, they'll flower in the fall, and they're generally white, in that they fade to like a pink color, and they have like almost a great big bloom, but it's not round like the one that you're not, like, for instance, a microphylla. It's more like a triangle, but big, still big. Julio, shoot me. I'm drawing a blank. Give me some good panicle hydrangeas.
Panicle would be like a limelight.
Right? And all the limelights.
All the limelights, yeah. All of them.
Right. There's like 6 different limelights now. Right. It was a lot easier when there was only one.
Little lime.
Like those you can cut back. Okay? If you have a hydrangea tree, cut it back. And now is a good time because we're still in winter mode, and then it would be a good time to cut those back. So absolutely. Oak leaf hydrangeas. No. Do not cut oak leaf hydrangeas. You can tell oak leaf hydrangeas by looking at the leaves, and they look like an oak. Mm-hmm. Some of the varieties, my favorite's ruby slippers, but there are a lot of new varieties that are coming out. And again, that's oak leaf hydrangeas are a no. Okay, smooth hydrangeas. Now you might recognize the name Incredible, Invincible Spirit. That those are smooth hydrangeas, and they flower again in the summertime. In the usually it's early summer. They could flower from early summer to mid to late summer. That those are smooth hydrangeas, and yes, prune them now, and that they still will summer because they will produce flowers on their new wood, which means new growth, and. So if we want to go through this real quick, big leafed hydrangeas, also macrophylla, no. Let them be. Panicle hydrangeas, the ones that are like the limelight varieties that have those, like Bobo is another variety. It's the ones that flower in the summer and fall. Those you can cut back now. Oak leaf hydrangeas generally flower in the spring. Don't touch them. Leave them alone. And then again, smooth hydrangeas, which are arborescence, is the botanical, Incredible, Invincible Spirit. So if you see something on where it's on the tag, it says hydrangea arborescence, or I bought Incredible. Why are they called Incredible? Because the flowers are the size of a basketball, generally white, sometimes tinged pink. That those you can prune back. So basically, no, leave your oak leaves alone and leave your snowball bush, round-headed, blue, pink, white. Leave them alone.
There you go.
Done. Drop the mic. We'll be back in the garden right after this. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor organic potting soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is available at these local retailers: Barlow's, Seagirt, New Jersey; Espenshades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Monton, Pennsylvania; Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouse, Mechanicsburg, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
From teaching moments in the garden to heartwarming memories, flowers have the remarkable ability to bring us together. The award-winning Philadelphia Flower Show invites you to a vibrant celebration of our growing community at the Pennsylvania Convention Center, March 2nd to 10th. Take part in the transformative power of gardening. Experience floral exhibits from top designers, the world's largest plant competition, crafts, shopping, activities, and more.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. If you haven't figured it out, the flower show starts today.
Oh, yes.
And it's going to go until the 10th. So,
You got time.
well, it's kind of. You got to move your clock. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
so again, you can get tickets at some folks at your local garden centers, like Bloomers, are selling tickets. You can save some of the fees, and that, or you can buy them through the Pennsylvania. Those of you, it's not Philadelphia Horticultural Society. It's Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. That's a no-no. That I don't think they like being called Philadelphia Horticultural Society. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about? We're going to have to talk about my alcohol problem.
Yeah,
No,
it's a
I do
huge one.
not have an alcohol problem, okay? I was saying in the beginning of the show that how I was using Malibu rum, and according to Aaron, he said that there's no alcohol in it to speak of, or very little. It's very light.
Not at all.
And then
Yeah,
I was taking that, and I mixed it was like a chocolate something alcohol,
Right.
and some Baileys. And it was just, supposed to be, I don't know.
a nightcap. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Exactly. And it was
Top off the day.
it was good, and I didn't think anything of it. I left it on the counter, and this is a counter not by the actual sink; it's across by the stove.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I come down the next morning, and and I was gonna get all the dishes in the sink and keep it. The thing is covered, and it looked like it had fur on it because it was covered in ants. And I'm thinking to myself, this was a few days ago, so this is February. Oh, I was like, where did they come from? At least, I'll see a Scout now and then.
Oh, gosh.
It was the sugar that was in the Malibu and in that chocolate stuff. They were maybe they were drunk.
Oh, I don't
They could have been
Could have
drunk. You never know.
Yeah.
And that there's ants that are in your house. You're going to start seeing them soon because they're waking them up. They're waking up now, and that you have to remember there's a queen, which is the egg-laying machine, and that queen is in the middle of the hive, and that there are these scout ants that are going out, and they leave a pheromone trail, and that each other ant that comes behind it is following that pheromone trail, and when they go and they find a food source, they go in and they tell the other ants, and they bring back food back to the hive to feed the other ants. And it's like, hey, Schroeder got some sweet
nice
stuff on the counter. You need to get over there. Yeah. And so, and again, I have sugar ants. Sugar ants are a real dark brown, as opposed to grease ants, which are light brown. And it amazed me, and I know what I'm talking about, know what I'm doing, because it was just so many. When you start to see, like you probably have seen some in your own kitchen or bathroom or what have you, where there's a scout that's looking around trying to find something, worthwhile to bring back to the hive. And as the hives get active, that's exactly what's happening. And you go to kill, you go to kill the scout ant. It doesn't work. Yeah, Aaron?
They said that your house was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory just now.
Yeah, that's it.
I got you.
That's it. They're saying, all right.
Yeah. The Lollipop Guild, we're ready.
Well, I'll tell you, and you need to wipe out the colony. You can't kill that, that one ant, or, again, like I'm grabbing the measuring cup where they all were in there, and again, it looked like there were so many ants. It looked like it was covered in fur. So I grabbed it, threw it in the sink. And ants can't swim. That's why on your hummingbird feeders, they have an ant moat. So the ants don't get to the sugar that you're feeding your hummingbird.
Genius.
That's a bonus.
That is a genius piece of information.
Right? And that where I washed them down the sink and that they all drowned, I hope. So somewhere there is a colony nearby. I think that it's in like a crawl space, or it's in somewhere where they're hiding, and it is. You can have like these little colonies in your home. I'm sorry to say, you definitely don't want to have carpenter ants. But here's what you need to do: you need to give them something to eat that will kill them. So let's start first. Bait traps work the best because it's borax. Do you remember borax? There's another cartoon thing they would always like show borax.
Really?
Sorry,
way back,
reliving my childhood. And that borax, where it's low toxicity, and it is a liquid bait trap that's plastic, and that they go and they'll feed on the it's a type of acid, it will say on the active ingredient, and they feed it to one another, and it basically interferes with their digestive system and eventually kills them. And the whole goal is, again, one feeds the other ant, then it feeds the other one, and it feeds the other one. You want them to get enough in their system, and that they spread it around, that it eventually kills the hive and the nest. So that's what you need to do. And again, that is through bait traps. Bait traps work well.
The best.
If you want to spray them, and I did do this, I have bait traps, but I also used BioAdvanced Complete Insect Killer. Let me say that again. BioAdvanced Complete Insect Killer. Julio, it's a Thrin.
It's a Thrin, yes.
New year.
It's a new year.
Explain what a Thrin is for me.
It's a Thrin is an insecticide. It comes from an organic product, which is chrysanthemums, and then it's a blend. What it does it prolongs.
It's the science from the organic
matter. Yeah.
So the pyrethrin is the organic version, or permethrin is an organic version.
Up there.
But where anytime you see an active ingredient and it has Thrin on the end of it, man takes the science that they've learned from the organic version and make it into something that will last longer. So you say, why don't we just use the organic version? Because it breaks down in light. So it doesn't have a long-lasting effect.
Yeah, I tried that. The organic matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It does, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It works quick. You need to shoot it, hit it, kill it. Where again, you're going to look and you're going to see things like deltamethrin, cefluthrin. The complete insect killer is cefluthrin, and that where it works great on things like, for instance, it'll work on flies. You spray your windowsill, fly lands on it, and it could be 3 weeks later, and it's active and working. It is not organic, but it is safe. You also want to, this time of the year, you want to cover your perimeter of your house, and you want to go and put a granular that's there. So that will kill any scout ants that are outside that are looking to get inside. So that will absolutely work. It also works on fleas and crickets and things. Aaron was telling me about how his daughter was terrified of crickets in their basement, and they used the Bio Advanced Complete Insect Killer, and it cleaned it right up. And
everything else we had.
And anything else.
Right.
It's true.
Absolutely.
It's true. Stink bugs?
Absolutely.
I've got no stink bugs. I got no stinking stink bugs.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So again, Bio Advanced Complete Insect Killer, that's the spray that to use, but don't think that the spray alone is going to work, because you need to get the hive cleaned out. You need to kill the hive, and you're going to do that by using the ant baits. Dig it?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Got it. All right. We'll be back in the garden right after these messages. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Coast of Maine's Organic Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the best soil for raised bed gardens, planter boxes, and container gardens. It grows amazing vegetables. It is made with a mixture of manure compost, worm castings, lobster and kelp meal, mycorrhiza, green sand, and biochar. It's ready to use straight out of the bag with no need for additional components or tilling. If you love growing fresh and hearty vegetables, herbs, and flowers, Coast of Maine's Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the perfect choice for you. At Coast of Maine, we believe in growing organically and buying locally. Castine Organic Raised Bed Mix can be found at these fine stores.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider, or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Me and Julio down at the schoolyard. Hope everybody learned a lot today. We are short on time. Julio, you're talking too much.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. We'll see you right here, same time, right here in the garden.
See you in the garden.